Hey folks, Doc here. I'd like to thank my buddy Patrick for sending this hat all the way up from West Virginia. Been trying to get a Trump campaign hat for a while. For no other reason than it's funny watching people lose their minds over a hat. Alrighty then. So I know that in the past we've talked about how I'll trade off a tractor or get rid of something, and I neglect to bring you guys up to speed. It's something that I just hadn't been thinking about. I just do my business and then later on make a video about things I think about making a video for. And then invariably 6 months, a year later, 2, 3 years later, people say, hey, what happened to X machine? And I went, oh, well, geez, you know, I sold that 3 years ago. And I didn't tell anybody. So I'm going to try and change that. I've been trying to change that. And here's part of that change. Stick around, I'll show you. Alright, so this here, some of you may recognize as my son Gary's racer. It's a, forget the model year, John Deere 175, I want to say. And he built it, finishing up last summer, for the purpose of racing in a stock mod class. I can't remember the exact class. It's basically stock, with the exception of an allowable pulley swap and, you know, safety features and stuff like that. Yes, it's still wet. It's amazing how much crap a machine will collect sitting under a tree for a year. This thing's been untouched for a year. Anyways, he built it for racing. We did get it out to one event last year. He raced in 2 different races. He placed 3rd each time, which isn't bad for a rookie and an untested machine. Nothing broke down. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't kill himself, so it's all good. However, my son has gotten rather busy with life, most notably working in an automotive apprenticeship program. He is a mechanic's apprentice, and I'm very proud of him for that. Anyways, he's done with this machine. He has that Massey Ferguson that he eventually is going to go trailing with when he gets around to working on it, but he's decided that 2 machines is 1 machine too many. So we're getting rid of this thing. This machine originally featured a Peerless 800 transaxle. And we stuck in, can you see that? Yeah, it's an MSD 206. We figured that would be a good upgrade for the track. And at the same time, we put on those 16-inch rear tires. You know, get the thing as low as possible. And you'll also notice that they're kind of stretched out on the rims. You know, get that sidewall edge, that corner away as much as possible. So there's 16 by 650 by 8 tires, and they're on 16 by 7 or 16 by 8 rims, so they do have that stretched look. Let's see, what else? The front tires, those are brand new. Well, they were brand new a year ago, 15 by 6 on 6. And the neat thing about that, don't let the big washers fool you, is those are actually Honda 3813 lawn tractor rims, which do come from the factory with high-speed bearings. So we decided that was a worthwhile upgrade as well. Turning your attention to the front axle for a second, which must be, you know, basically kept stock with a locking option allowed by the rules. So all we did is we cut and welded a couple of pieces of angle iron to the axle beam, and that just butts up against the frame and keeps the axle from articulating for a little more high-speed stability. And of course the GoPro mount. Turning our attention to the driver's position and seating and controls. We've got one of those padded pan seats, and we've got that slammed all the way down to the body, and in order to facilitate that we moved the gas tank. I'll get back to that in a second. Fancy pants, chrome BMX peg shift handle, whatever. Choke control, ignition switch, start button, and there's the mandatory tethered kill switch. Let's see, under the hood, there's your stock Cowie FC420, and there's the fuel tank that we located under the hood so that we could slam the seat all the way down. So there's not much going on under the hood that isn't stock, pretty much other than the gas tank. The engine's still governed, the whole shoot match. Just the only battery I could find that would actually hold a charge at this point for the purpose of trading this thing off. Take a quick look around and maybe give you a look at some stickers. You know, a few words from a couple of our sponsors, so to speak. There you go. Anyways, sorry, I forgot to mention the hand throttle. Gary decided he wanted a hand throttle, and you've got to have that grab bar thing there, and he decided that that was actually a fairly logical place to have the handle, was right there on the bar. So, hand throttle on the bar. The tractor is painted Duplicolor Midnight Blue, and that was accomplished by painting the tractor. I got to think about this, it's been a while. We primed the tractor in black and then sprayed the Midnight Blue over it. And where you see this kind of teal colored stripe, that's actually just white primer underneath the Midnight Blue. It's very faint, but that's what we did. It was just a difference in primer. Black primer, white primer, same Midnight Blue over the whole damn thing. Now the only thing keeping this tractor from running and driving at this point is the pulley. It had a 6-inch pulley on the front, and that got robbed for another project. So, you know, the guy that's receiving this is aware of the fact that it doesn't have a pulley. Other than that, there's a fair bit of cash tied up in the machine. There's a fair bit of work done to the machine, all things considered. It's a good, solid machine. Starts easy, runs nice. Factory muffler, nothing special. Like I said, entry-level racer. Good night, Dick. Good night, Dick. Anyhow, there she is in a nutshell. That was Gary's Racer. And a trade option came up a couple of days ago. Now, I know you guys, when it all comes down to it, are going to say that I got robbed in the trade and the machine that I'm getting probably wasn't worth it. And the truth of the matter is, if you want to compare the raw dollars and cents of it all, it doesn't make sense. I do have the short end of the trade, and I'm kind of doing it deliberately. Part of it is simply to get rid of the machine. Part of it is to give me something new to mess with. Part of it is to give somebody else a hand up. Okay, so here's a machine that's already pretty capable on its own. It needs very little to run. You could convert it to a capable off-roader with very little effort and money. Like I said, the front tires are, for all intents and purposes, brand spanking new. The engine's in excellent shape. It doesn't smoke. It's got the Peerless MST series transaxle, lots of goodies on the thing. So at this point, I'm like, okay, we're gonna give it to somebody, that maybe can't do a lot of these things on their own, and give them a bit of a head start on a cool machine nonetheless. So did I get the short end of the trade? Yeah, I probably did. What I'm bringing in return, you know what? That could end up being a bit of a head turner by the time I'm done with it. Not that I ever do anything worthy of turning heads. So basically it came down to this. The trade opportunity came up, and I called my son and I said, hey dude, what are you doing with that thing, eh? You gonna sell it or what? And he says, yeah. So we talked about some of the things he needs and what he may have done with the money had he sold it, albeit for a very reasonable price. So he and I came to an agreement where I effectively bought the machine off him so that I could trade it away. So there you go, folks. I'm going to give you another look. There it is. Bye, Felicia. So this would be the moment you've all been waiting for, I suppose. There it is. What we have here would be considered a Mini. It has a 6 horsepower vertical Tecumseh in it. I had to really dig through the numbers. It's got a tag on it, but Sears Craftsman, and I'll get to that in a second, had a habit of putting their own numbers on everybody else's junk, so I had to cross-reference that Sears number to find out what model Tecumseh it was. I knew it was a Tecumseh, especially by the carburetor. Just wasn't sure if it was 4 horsepower, 5 horsepower, 6 horsepower. Anyways, pull start only. It's got a 3-speed foot transmission and a chain drive differential axle. It's pretty old. Apparently it runs, or at least it would run if the carburetor wasn't off it, because it was flooding its guts out. Now I did notice that the governor linkage rod is missing, so I don't know if it was being operated ungoverned or if it got lost in the process. But I've got the removed parts here on the ground. That is your classic Tecumseh Series 1 carburetor. I actually get along with those pretty good. A lot of people hate them. I got no issue with them. And the fuel tank, metal. And the air cleaner box with some assorted hardware in it that I guess is to put all this stuff back together again. It's an interesting little piece. Unfortunately, the hood is plastic. I'd have to peg this thing at early to mid-70s, but I'm going to have to do some research to find out. It's got these hilarious tires on it. These are 14 by 5.5 on 8. And they're solid or foam core. It says puncture proof on the side wall, and well, I don't see a valve stem. And these fronts, which are 11 by 4, same answer, says puncture proof, and no valve stem to be had, which is probably the only reason they're not flat. So the whole machine has seen better days, and you're probably thinking I'm insane for trading that racer for it, which I kind of am. The only thing the racer needed was a pulley, everything else was good to go. But hey, it is what it is, and sometimes I do these crazy things, and sometimes I give people a helping hand and just say, ah, you know what, to hell with it, you take the better end of the trade deal and it's all good. So that's basically what I did. Now I guess it's up to me to figure out what I'm going to do with this thing, and I haven't really decided yet. I could just basically get it back together and running and flip it, see what else comes my way, or maybe I'll repower it. Maybe I'll do something truly dumb with it. For now, it's going to get parked next to the other 2 minis while I make up my mind. So Brandon, I hope you enjoy that John Deere. It's got a lot of potential, and it's got some bucks in it too. You could very easily, you know, continue to use it as a racer, slap a pulley on it, away you go, maybe pull swap it for more speed. Or you can turn it into a pretty capable off-roader too. There's a lot there to work with. So thanks for the trade, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so there she is parked with the rest of the mini horde, so to speak. I think overall, definitely if you go by wheelbase, the Springfield's the biggest of the 3. And now it's just up to me to decide what I'm doing. Well, that about puts the wraps on this little update. I'd like to thank you for tuning into Sprocket's Garage on YouTube and sharing and subscribing and all that good stuff. Stay tuned and we'll definitely have more. Until next time, take care of yourself.